Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Contemporary Issues Adult Sunday School class. We are so pleased today to have Carlee Andrus with us to talk about hospitality and community life. She's our director of both those categories. We've never had Carlee here before, so I thought it would be a great chance to meet Carlee and hear more about what she does and talk about hospitality of the visitor and the stranger. But before we do that, our usual announcements, Zoomers, welcome, and please mute yourself in the lower left corner of your screen when you're not talking. And we are recording this with our little owl device here in the front of the room for future playback on YouTube for those who cannot be here. And other things going on at the church today, there's the immigration presentation at noon today. Sounds really good. So hopefully some of you will stop in for that.
It's a nice presentation.
No, it's not a nice presentation. It's probably quite different from that. We shall see. Yes, Carol. Starts at 11:30 with, I think, refreshments, lunch. Okay, and then 12 o'clock to 1, I think, is the presentation, right, Carlee? Mhm. In the fellowship hall, yes.
I bet that was part of Carlee's.
Probably was. Yes.
Saw Jamie this time, actually. We're filling in. She's not feeling good today, so.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I also want to welcome first-time visitors, John and Lisa. Hope I got your names right. And so, raise your hand so we can just say thank you for coming today and hope you'll come back. Thank you for coming. Okay. Yeah. Yes, Joy, go ahead.
Friday afternoon, ladies, if you want to play games, it's every fourth Friday in the library, 1:30 to 3:30, 4 o'clock. Just come. Friday morning.
Coffee chat.
Friday coffee chat, okay? Lots going on. In fact, okay. In fact, I'm tempted to ask Carlee to announce all the things going on.
We have the pancake supper on March 4th. That's my thing, so please come.
But before I have turn it over to Carlee to explain to us what she does, I want to do a quick little interview with Carlee and ask her about her background, because a lot of us probably don't know. Where did you grow up?
Even though I am a native to Denver and was born at St. Joseph's Hospital, I did grow up east in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. So about an hour north of Pittsburgh. My sister and her husband are still in that area. They live in New Wilmington, a little Amish town, about 45 minutes north of Pittsburgh, and are on the faculty of Westminster College. It's a small liberal arts college that Mason Harrison's sister used to be on that same staff there and the organist. So that so anyways, that
Did you go to high school and college there?
high school at Newcastle High School, graduated in 2006, and then my parents wanted to be back in Colorado. And so my dad, if you don't know who he is Larry Scalfari. He is the organist here. He has the dark hair. He's pretty awesome. He bailed me out this week. And so I apologize because this presentation is going to feel a little probably broken up because my youngest ended up in children's for a couple of days. And so I told my dad, we need you to take care of the big boys. So to see him, he's an amazing grandpa. Yeah.
Your youngest had 105-degree temperature?
Yeah, 105.8. And we're like, are you sure that's what you meant? And the lady's like, yes. And so they almost had to get the ice packs and all that, but it went down really quite there. But,
Good.
and you're not contagious.
no, just making sure. Well, no, most people would go through it's adenovirus and it would be like a normal cold, but not Beckham. Beckham likes to make things big, apparently. But anyways.
And where'd you go to college?
I didn't. And so, so when my parents moved out here, I moved with them, and so forth, and started working started at St. Andrew as a receptionist, in the front office. And, as my parents went their separate ways and different things, I was like, I need full-time employment, and Chuck Curtis saw potential in me, thankfully. And I was in accounting for like 15 years full-time here. It was kind of like apprenticed as here, and have been given an amazing opportunity, but my heart's always been for people. And so during the pandemic, I had talked to a former employee and said, I really would love to be where the people are, and making people feel connected and a part of things. And so as we started to reopen, I was able to move into the role of Sunday coordinating, and eventually they just saw that there was more for me to do and moved me into this role. And I absolutely love what I'm doing, and I'm learning a lot. And I'm glad to have you guys here this morning and listening to why hospitality matters and how we can do it without even volunteering, just as when we come in the building, thinking about how we can welcome the stranger. So
We know you're a singer too. Tell us, because we've heard you in services, singing. Tell us just a minute about that. How'd you get into becoming a singer?
it's probably because my dad is in music. My mom has a beautiful soprano voice also. So I've been in a very artistic family. My mom decorates, so that's where I get the decorating from, with floral arrangements, all that kind of stuff. And then my dad, he doesn't sing, but obviously he plays, and his passion is sacred music. And he went to Duquesne University and got his master's in that. But I don't remember not singing. So like from a very young age, from like 3 years old on, would be doing stuff with my dad, specifically going to nursing homes and different programs within the community singing the national anthem for marathons, the most recent thing was singing at what was the Pepsi Center, the national anthem, and Oh Canada, which for a Mammoth game and all that, which was an honor to do.
That's terrific.
So, but when I can do it as ministry and feel like what I'm singing, you're feeling and knowing, like it's, if I can touch one life with what I'm singing that day, it means the world to me. Like I love the ministry part of it. So
Just a couple more questions. Your husband, James, does what kind of work?
he is in access control, so it's security, and he goes like some of the highest security things where his company helps like different vendors like with the equipment. It's a weird thing. I don't even know how to explain what he does. His brain is amazing.
It's physical security at a building rather than something that's
Okay.
digital security. Right?
Yeah, like more physical, like getting access points, even like at your hospitals and like badging in and all that kind of stuff. He used to be with Lumen, CenturyLink before that, wrote SQL scripts, all these kind of things that my brain just cannot understand. And I'm glad that's his thing. So, but he's like he travels a lot. So I was thankful he was here this week.
You've got 2 kids.
Actually, three.
Three. I'm sorry.
I have 3 boys. I'm a boy mom and I love it. My oldest is 12. He is in 6th grade. My middle is 10 and he's in 4th grade. And then Beckham is in kindergarten and he is going to be 6 in about 3 weeks. And so he was the one that was in the hospital. He's doing great though. So, and again, I apologize because I had this in my mind this week to like go over, and I didn't make it into this building until today. So, but so I hope.
Thank you for coming today.
Yes, no, it's an honor to have been asked to do this and just to share with you guys this morning. So.
Well, just tell us whatever you want to. Do you mind if you take questions while you're doing it? We're very informal here. And okay, normally you have the question already.
Are you responsible for the decor that's in the front of the church
Yes.
Yes.
So where do you have responsibility?
So I'm gonna stand because I feel bad for anybody in the back because I get it. I'm short.
There.
And I actually may feel like I am still sitting because I'm not short. But I have a big personality and a loud voice. So anyways, so my current role, I do have a little bit with accounting still. I do the payroll. So that makes all of my colleagues love me. I get paid every week. But besides that, I am involved with doing a lot of like the set designs that we do for, Lent, Christmas, and I have amazing volunteers that come and help do parts of that with me. I also am kind of over, let's see here, the Welcome Center and ushers, greeters, parking lot crew, which is really sad. We need to grow that. The coffee, we have amazing people like Vicky.
Yeah.
Trying to think, just anything that touches hospitality and events too, here at St. Andrew and helping with that. And then with group life, it's trying to get people connected at St. Andrew in meaningful ways, whether that's a social group or it's, I'm gonna go to a covenant group and I'm gonna spiritually dive in deeper in getting you plugged in and trying to find the right fit for you too. So, yeah, I don't know if that helps. So the main thing I was going to talk about today is specifically hospitality and how hospitality doesn't, it's not a department's job to do, it's all of our job to do at St. Andrew. And if you sit back and think about your first time that you ever walked in the doors of St. Andrew, how did you receive hospitality?
Wade.
Wade Jones.
Wade.
Yes. But from the greeting at the doors
Oh, Wade.
to sitting at church and being asked, do you want to sit next to me? To, hey, let me take you to the Welcome Center to meet some more people. Or did you get a call from a volunteer or a staff member saying, hey, we're glad you showed up today and want to get you involved at St. Andrew? Or how can we be in prayer with you? And hospitality covers so many things. So trying to think of situations of where you've received exceptional hospitality. A lot of times you think a hotel, a restaurant, but something that exceeds people's expectations. And that's what I'm wanting to really grow at St. Andrew, is how we're greeting the stranger, or who is a stranger to us. It could be somebody that's been here for 40 years, but we're all guests when we come in the door, and we all should welcome each other and, touch bases that the people that may be their first time, that they just feel like they're part of the family. So with hospitality, there is a campaign that I'm trying to launch here, and you guys are the first to hear about it. It's a 2-point thing, but since you guys are always here on Sundays, a lot of you, I would love to ask you guys to be a part of just your general, when I come at St. Andrew, I'm gonna look for faces that I don't know in my regular group and get to know somebody new. And on a Sunday morning, a really easy thing is to sit towards the front of the sanctuary and
Yeah, I
towards the
wouldn't know
center.
anything about that.
Example, I usually joke with my volunteers that make people think it's a Taylor Swift concert. Like, you want to be up front. Like, that is the thing, But then also being on the lookout for somebody that you don't know, and offer for them to come sit with you and kind of be your friend for the day and move around in the sanctuary too. Because I know I tend to be like, I like to be in the section closest to the windows because it's pretty and I can see the choir. But I'm like, how about I take a turn and let somebody else sit here also? So I know a lot of you do sit up front and in, but they say when a new guest comes in, a lot of times they come in late or they come in really early. And they're gonna want to sit on the end or in the back, because if they're uncomfortable, they want their exit strategy, So if we're leaving those spaces, it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but if we're leaving that space for people, it's also showing that we're waiting for you. We wanted you to be here. We're not making people climb over legs and purses and coats and all the things to get a seat. And as you can see, our attendance is growing and it's amazing. But I find that, during prayer, we're trying to find spots for people and it's like, oh, you could maybe sit over there. So if we're just aware, moving in, really filling a row, so then others coming in have a space. So, excuse me, I'm like, I know I talk fast, so I apologize. Is everybody hearing me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And I was like, and I'm probably really red and blotchy. That's why I wore a turtleneck today. So joy.
I was just going to add, inviting somebody to go to coffee.
That's a
is good way.
wonderful
I don't think
opportunity.
we push that enough.
That is a wonderful example of showing hospitality and just saying, come down the hall and letting people know that we even have it. Because I feel like we need more signage for that. So we are working over the next several months on some new signage in the building to make it easier, because our stuff blends in too much and it looks nice. But as a new guest, think when you're going to the airport or somewhere new, it's really obvious that that's where the bathrooms are. That's where this is. And so we're working on that to make it easier for the new guests.
I wasn't done.
Oh, sorry, Troy.
No, too often, like Fellowship Hall is off limits for coffee. And that's kind of a bugaboo with me. I mean, if we're going to
There's
try
other
to
events
bring
scheduled.
people in, we need room and,
Yeah, and it's one of mine too, because I had some conversations with some of my favorite colleagues about this. Who keep looking
In your hands.
and being like, oh, Carlee will be fine with it. And I'm like, what is our priority here?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it is a open conversation that we've been having because it is important to have a space and we're outgrowing the gathering space. So that's
Yeah.
a wonderful problem to be having, but part of this campaign that I'm telling you guys about is like to make that commitment that, hey, when I come on Sundays, I'm gonna be looking for a new face. I'm gonna get to know somebody new. I'm gonna invite people to sit next to me. And then in conjunction with our Welcome Center, one of the ways that people find out about St. Andrew before they even walk in our doors is they're Googling it. They're going and they're seeing us, our front door is our website. And plan your visits is a big thing now in the church. And so people start to say, I'm gonna plan my visit. And we wanna start offering this opportunity that when you say, I plan my visit, I would love to have a friend that Sunday that's gonna greet me at the Welcome Center, who's gonna show me where to sit, who's gonna maybe help me take my kids downstairs if I'm checking in children or youth, or maybe take me to get coffee and a donut ahead of time, and then I'll sit with them in worship. And then the key part is, they won't know this, but that the people that come and say, hey, I will be that buddy, I will be that friend, we'll let you know, hey, we had 3 families sign up, they want a friend to show them the building and be with them on Sunday morning. You would wait at the Welcome Center and we direct you and you'd be looking for John. Hey, this is John. I'm Nora Lee. I'm gonna be your friend today. We'll have a cool word for it. I don't know, friend or bench buddy works or whatever. But so we're to actively launch this ministry is to get people that be willing to do this maybe one Sunday a month and be like, I will be that person for 9 o'clock or for 10:30. But the key thing is to have you meet the clergy that preaches that morning, because they say that if you meet a clergy or the pastor that preaches, you're more likely to come back because you've made a really special connection because that's the person that preached and so forth. So part of that buddy system is that you be really intentional about introducing them to Rev Mark or Rev Amy, Jerry, whoever's preaching, and then just being with them, even connecting them if you're comfortable sharing your email or phone number, connecting with them throughout the week and just see how they're doing. We are launching our Text in Church program soon. So you'll probably hear about this more too. And that is a way where people are going to be able to connect right away and say, I'm new, and get responses that come directly from me or whatever staff member they reach out to through text. Last night I had somebody who's like, thank you for sending all this information. I just sent them a little emoji like, yeah. So it's already working through our new guests that we're inputting, but that is part of this too, is launching some of these new tech tools that are going to help us with those younger generations too, but those that enjoy using tech. So
Like AI.
yeah. ChatGPT is not a terrible tool.
So Carlee, would you like us to email or text you and tell you that we are welcome, we're interested in joining?
Just.
Oh, she's got
I would sign up. And you can say what you would like to do. We're always, now I can tell you, we're always looking for ushers. We're always looking for greeters, parking lot crew. I mean, the first impression is important. And I know that that's from the time they drive in the parking lot with signage. So we are going to start naming the lots too. Also, it's a safety reason, but you think about it, it's like, where did I park? Where, in the moment, or if there's a medical emergency, it's easier to tell, a dispatch, hey, we're gonna be in the north lot main entrance and it's marked for them to know where to come in. But that's a whole other area. I digress. But to have more parking lot crew people that are out there, even just waving at people and welcoming them, even if it's signs that say, we're glad you're here, welcome home. Helping answer questions, because sometimes when you are a first-time guest, you're like, where do I go? I know I read it, in your first-time visit, we're talking about putting a video together that actually give a tour of the building before you even show up, so you kind of have an idea. But all this stuff takes a little bit of time, but we're working on that. So these are just a few steps towards that. So any questions we have, Jim?
I want to stress that I'm not pointing the finger at anybody. But in a different lifetime, a long time ago, I was involved in this kind of thing. And we got a study about welcoming people into the congregation. And we found out, at least this was, back before computers and everything, so maybe it doesn't have any relevancy now. But anyway, we found out that the single most important thing is name badges. When Pat and I first started coming here about 15 years ago, I mean, you could count the number of people that didn't have badges on them. As well as instead of the number, everybody wore their name badge. And that has slipped away. There hasn't been an announcement in church or up on the board or anything like that, wear your name badge or anything like that. I can't remember how long I've seen anything like that.
Right, we were
And
trying
when
to,
we first started coming here, the second Sunday.
You had a
we
name
got-
badge.
We got sent over to the hospital. And the second Sunday, we had a name badge. They were getting people's names on really fast.
right, and we are trying to promote that. I know we had a picture of, I think, Ken Couch wearing his name badge about like, remember to do this. Right now, we're in the middle of rebranding here at St. Andrew. And so once we come up with a new brand and logo, what all that may come to, I don't know very much on that piece of it. We're wanting to really push out like brand new name badges and then check-in. And check-in is a huge thing because when we know you're here, we know when we can say, hey, we haven't seen this person. Do they have a care need? Is everything okay? And get people, when they may be like, oh, I had this thing happen. I'm glad you reached out. I should have let you know that, my dad passed away or whatever it is. And yeah, I would love care for this. And, but if you're not checking in, we don't know. So Norley.
Thank you. I have a question about, number one, rebranding, why? And number two, check-in. I know that we've updated our Wi-Fi, upgraded it, but 3 times out of 4, when I try and use the digital check-in, I can't connect to the network
Okay.
here. So hopefully, that changes, but.
I'm gonna write it down so I can follow up on
Yeah,
that.
so the check-in, digital check-in, I think would be awesome. And I love it because I can check in for everything,
Mhm.
the first service, the 10:30, or whatever. So that'd be great to see.
Right.
Because I know a lot of people now are much more comfortable doing things on their phone. And why rebranding?
So if we're rebranding, there's a few reasons. One, because of the divorce in the United Methodist Church with the Global Methodist Church. It's our opportunity to really put ourselves out there that we are the United Methodist Church and what that may look like. I'm not sure any directions that they're going in. So my thoughts are, when you see St. Andrew, do you think this is a Catholic church? Do you think this is an Episcopal or whatever it is? I grew up in the Assemblies of God, and I'm so glad I'm Methodist. And so but like Church of the Resurrection, who we model a lot of our stuff after them. They're pretty amazing. So if you go after their website, Share Church, they are in Kansas City. This is where Steve and Vicki came from. They do hospitality, amazing, and they don't go by like the United Methodist Church. They're Church of the Resurrection. They're core. And so sometimes putting the label we're finding on a denomination, people don't know what that is because the people that are coming to church are usually unchurched now. They've never stepped in a church. They don't even know what the Lord's Prayer is. Like, so if you see on a Sunday, we're like, why do we always have the same announcement about all are welcome, or we're now going to pray, we're going to do this. It's because we're doing it with the mindset of there's a new person here that probably doesn't even know what this prayer is. And we want to make sure they feel welcome and can just be a part of our service and not like what is happening next. That's part of the bulletin and that part of things. So, but the rebranding is having to do mainly with that. And there's been we haven't had a rebrand in probably 10, 12 years, I want to say. It's been a while. Yeah, it'd be about 10 years because I was pregnant with Bentley. I was good with my pregnancies, what happened. And so that's when we went to the whole Go St. Andrew piece of it. I'm not saying that's going away, but we used to be -Andrew-UNC.com. And it was really complicated, so they simplified it. And so it's just part of something that, organizations do, and this is a good time for us to evaluate our branding, so, yeah, Allison, and then I'll get back to you.
Is there a timeline that you're aware of for that?
I think they have finally hired one company to do it, and they've started to work on it. They said it could be 3 months, it could be, 9 months. It's hard to know what's working with that, but Jason Snow, Amy Stapleton will probably have better ideas of that, or Catherine, so, but I can have them reach out to you too. So, and then,
I just had, a thought, having gone to a more conservative church with my in-laws one time for Easter. I have to say, I really felt like the welcome that we got was like the bum rush. And I just have always appreciated how lovely and sensitive St. Andrew is, and realizes that not everyone is an extrovert that comes to
Mhm.
church. And some people haven't come to church because they feel overwhelmed and too many people are bombarding them with happy faces and you're welcome here and we want you here.
it's like you're a sales car person, you sales car person.
I appreciate the sensitivity we have to understanding many different styles of people coming.
Yep, and having those social cues, sometimes I'm not good at them, but.
I just-
Yeah.
And so much of our personality as a church, to me, is that gentle, welcoming
Mhm.
way.
Oh, I've been at a church where they literally like, if you're a first time guest, we want you to stand, and it's like going to Lostos and having them put the hat on you and singing happy birthday, and you're like, no.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, so we don't have to do that, but I wouldn't want to come back either, so.
So there's a group of us that are on call after hours for the church. So you might orient us to how to introduce St. Andrews, because we get calls that say, what time is your service? When is this class? So that would be a group I would appreciate also.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even realize, like, this is for the Caroline, and okay, but.
Yes, yeah, we
So-
get calls, after hours, so from 4 o'clock on.
Okay, I see, I know, so after hours calls, I'll talk to.
Let's announce rebranding to occur the same week as Cheyenne Frontier Days.
So, but, yeah, so I'm like, where were we going? So anybody that'd be interested in being part of like this group that would be willing, for those that are saying, hey, I am the extrovert, like if I was going somewhere for the first time, I may come across as an extrovert right now because I'm comfortable, but I'd be terrified to go to a church by myself. I'd be like, if my husband wasn't with me or a friend or something, but if I was able to go to a counter and say, hey, this is my first time and I have just a soft person that would help me navigate, I would feel more like, yeah, at peace about it. And the reason I even got this idea is I creep a lot of websites, a lot of church websites, because I want to see how they're doing hospitality. Because I can't say that we're the ones that do it all right. We all can learn from each other. We all have the same mission, is to love people and care for people and be with them in Christ's love. And so I go on Mission Hills all the time, and Plum Creek Church, because that's near where I live, because I want to see what they're doing and so forth. And that's where I got I was like, oh, they have a women's retreat. And they're like, if you're a first time guest, come meet a group of other women that are going to be there and we're all going to sit together. And I was like, I actually would want to maybe go to that retreat because I wouldn't just show up and not know anybody. I had already know that there's these set out people that were going to be there for me. So that's where it wasn't my bright idea. I would like to take. But and anyways, but showing your hospitality when you're here, even we have like 7 principles that we like to ask new members to do when they do join St. Andrew, is that we say, we're going to relinquish your first guest treatment, and we're going to ask you to park away now if you're able to, and so forth, because when a first time guest comes or somebody that really needs to be parking up front because of disabilities and special needs, or they have young children and they want to get in a parking lot where they don't have to walk kids across, that we're saying, hey, we're leaving these spaces up front for everybody else because I can walk. and I can, do that. So that's one thing that we ask for, is that people park away when they come, even if it's a class during the week, because St. Andrew hosts so many things during the week. If you come around noon, you're like, where is all the parking? And so you'll see a lot of staff, we tend to park further away during the week just to allow room for everybody else. To be just aware of things, that if you see that like a trash can is overflowing, yeah, let somebody know. And, because we may not realize that, and first impressions are important. So it's like someone who comes and they see that our landscape's not looking good, or that they can't find their way to a certain room that they're supposed to be at, and so forth. It's kind of a turn off in a way. So just thinking of small ways that you can be a part of that hospitality, and in your small groups too. Part of the check-in process that we're talking about is like my dream with name tags is we do have a check-in process where when you would sign in, a label would print and you'd get a name tag. That's what I'm trying to push. I don't know if it'll happen because it is a little expensive, I guess. So I have dreams up here and they have to remind me and take me back
Set the
down.
peel off and stick them.
Yeah, which is kind of a pain too, when you're cleaning clothes and you forget, and you're like, oh no, it's permanently on my shirt. But that, if part of that check-in, we would automatically be able to let people know, and if you are a first-time guest or you forgot your name tag, we can get you one that day, instead of,
High schools do.
Well, I love the magnets on these. The magnets on these are wonderful.
they're fabulous, and we're gonna hopefully go with the same kind of magnet, but having name tags is important too. And I'm terrible. I always forget. So, does anybody else have any more questions on?
Tell us about Community Live. What does that include? What are you doing with that?
Community life is not only like, for me, the more social groups of like, hey, I like to knit, or I love doing crafts. We just started our Parenting and Beyond group, and that's specifically for young families who are raising kids and just trying to navigate this journey of parenthood together. And it's a more of a social type of thing, but they're meeting for a game night on Friday night here at Fellowship Hall. So if you have any young, kids that you're like, send them out this way, we'd love to have them. And then doing events like our block party is a great way to be together in community. Our community supper that we just did in January, and now we are going to start doing a community picnic, and this is going to be in May. This year, we are going to do it to coincide with the Big Serve. It'll be our 10th anniversary of doing the Big Serve, so it's a pretty big deal. We're really excited. And so Sunday, the 4th of May, we're going to have a group picnic, and it's going to be at Civic Green Park. And so our men's grill team are going to come out. We're going to provide the meat to everybody and so forth. We're going to ask you to bring sides, desserts, drinks. And if weather doesn't permit, we will pivot and we'll be here at the church. But we're trying to come up with core events that are just purely a time to be together socially and in community, because our world has become so isolated, especially since COVID. And people need people, even if people don't think they need people, they really do. And so that's part of our belonging and our core values, and that community, connected community in building that. So we have 5 core values that we're working on, and social justice is one. Let's see here, I have to go look at my banners, discipleship and all that. So, but Steve.
What was the date for Big Serve?
Big Serve is on Saturday, the 3rd.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and then the community picnic to celebrate Big Serve, and this will still be a continued thing each year, is going to be on the 4th, but next year it probably won't be that early in the season. Like, it'll probably be the weekend before Memorial Day. We just wanted to celebrate Big Serve too. And so,
Carla,
yes.
don't forget senior adult ministry.
Oh, and
Doing a lot.
oh, and senior adult, I mean, they're doing the vacation Bible school.
And then in April the 4th, I think they're doing a forum.
That's right. And Barbara was talking about that.
Coffee chat.
Yeah, and the coffee chats are a way to get together and be in community. And the coffee chats, they have some provocative things that they talk about in these chats that I've heard about.
And don't forget prime time.
And then prime time every month, second Friday of the month, we have prime time. And like, these are also opportunities when you guys are getting together, is to still be like, hey, come sit with me at my table. Let me get to know you. And also with your sign in, we can have you guys start signing in through the app for this class. So we're trying to roll these things out so then, because I see a sign up sheet going across, so,
Yeah.
and I think Vicky, and then get back to.
I would like to do a plug for the youth auction.
Yes,
Last year, Steve and I came and it wasn't as well attended as it has been in the past. And, you know, those of us that are retired and can maybe afford to do a little bit more, I would really encourage you to come to that youth auction because it serves such a good
It does.
purpose for those kids, you know, and when there's not an audience that shows up for the auction, it's kind of bad. You know?
and we are changing the format this year from what it's historically been. This year, the youth auction is gonna be specifically downstairs in our youth area, because we feel like a lot of people, if you don't have youth or children, you're not going downstairs and seeing this amazing facility and where other ministry is happening. So they are promoting cutting down there, and it's all gonna be kind of like a silent auction, all online. So there's no dinner this time, there's no live auction. So more information should be out on our website under the youth tab, if you're familiar with navigating our website and so forth. But that is a huge thing for the youth. It really does help make it affordable. And then George.
Oh. Yesterday, Steve, was in the,
Well, that's very normal when she's at the vet or anywhere else, because that's her safe place.
What kind of program was it?
When she's in those
Beer. We actually do have a group, they meet on Wednesday night. Every Wednesday, the beer group with Jim and Jim who help kind of put together. So if you want to do that, and it's before choir. So you can go and it's all in this area.
You can sing really well.
And you sing really well. But we do have a beer group, and so can you connect it with things like that? So. So.
We're Methodist.
Yeah, Jim and Jim's peer group, but there's also, go ahead.
Yes, there's also a men's ministry building. We're Methodist. We do a little imbibing.
You know the difference between Methodist and Baptist?
No.
Methodists say hello to each other in the liquor store.
That's good. Just a quick time check. It's 11:10. I want to give our Zoomers a chance to ask a question or make a comment about hospitality or community life. If you'd like to, just go right ahead. So you don't feel like go ahead, Susan.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that some people are coming that are unchurched. What percentage of the population on a Sunday would you put in that category?
So I don't have an exact number on that, so I apologize, but I could try to find it for you. But they are saying that most people that are looking for church now are those that have never been in church, or they are completely leaving what they've grown up or known their whole lives for something else. And so in a way, it's not that they're in church, but it's a totally different service. Like this service is totally different from how I was raised. Service, what happens at 10:30 is closer to how I was raised, if that makes sense. And so forth, but I can try to find that information for you and get it to you. So I don't know where's the camera? And we have Rebecca, and then we'll just.
Carlee, so I know that our online attendance is growing and is quite large. What are the ways that we reach out to that community to show hospitality, get them connected to what we're doing here?
So, right now, this is a wonderful way, offering an opportunity for those that can't be here physically to be in the Zoom classes. Also our chat, we would love to have a couple of people volunteering to help connect during the Sunday morning worship through the chat feature instead of just one little hi from St. Andrew, and that's usually Micah, but someone that can help monitor the chat to say, these are the questions about the service and so forth. Our Exploring St. Andrew, we're offering, so that's our membership class. If you're not familiar with Exploring St. Andrew, we do a Zoom class now for that to allow people to join membership that way. And we've sent, when we do giveaways for Advent and Lent, we'll usually send the people that let us know the same giveaways to them, and we've sent like communion elements so people can still do communion with us with the same kind of stuff. So there's that there, but then trying to find ways that it can be an all like online class so that that community can build together. And I've explored ideas of even offering like social groups that would meet once a week or whatever and just be together in fellowship, because we did this with the beer group during COVID. We all would have a beer and we just zoom in and talk to each other. And I was like, well, this works for that. So how can we do that for our online community to give an opportunity? And they're saying, you know, for every one person that we have sitting in the congregation, there is 3 more people watching online than you. And that is a very conservative number because we're multiplying it by like 1.5 versus what is recommended. So, Norley.
Carlee, my understanding was that when people are watching the sermon or the service, it's not necessarily on a Sunday. They could be watching it throughout the week, because I thought, wow, when I have attended online, I don't see all those people in the chat, but is people watching on a Monday or a Wednesday? And I think that's a really interesting differentiator.
Just like this class.
Yeah.
You can watch it anytime you want.
Exactly.
And Steve?
Church on Purpose has done a very low key on marketing. But we don't do advertising like in on a branch newspaper, things like that. Do you see with the rebranding that we're going to continue our very low
I think
attraction thing, or do you think are we going to be more gregarious and outgoing?
I hope we'll be more outgoing and especially on social media platforms,
Correct.
because that's where people are kind of picking up things. Right now, our staff is they've lost a few people, so they're short staffed right now. So they're just getting to get you like whatever the closest event is. They are amazing. So if you see Catherine or Tori, and you know who they are, give them kudos. They're doing amazing. But the whole point I think is to be more outgoing with what's happening. We did find out, because when we've tried to advertise for like the block party or different things, Highlands Ranch and like all the rec centers and so forth have a whole program now, and you have to be an approved person to advertise through them, and you have to go through a whole system. So that may be where it's like, we don't have energy right at this moment to do that, but we're going to try to do that. And they're filtering really what they're promoting, because if you promote one church, you have to promote them all. So they've said no, unless you go through this like vigorous thing. So.
And a follow-up question to that is that there's, for young people, there's many people that would like to volunteer for opportunities then to go ahead and serve. And one way that churches are using is to put on events whereby the people have an opportunity to serve with other people in the community. Would you talk to that, please?
I feel one way that we do it regularly is through our East Community Center, because there are so many people that volunteer there and people that don't even come to St. Andrew and volunteer there regularly. The Big Serve is our big one, where we put it out on Eventbrite. We have like between 500 to 600 people show up. And when I've been here, I'm like, I don't even know who these people are. And it's like, oh no, they're, you know, the soccer team that wanted to serve together. And this is this one group. So we are giving more opportunities that people can just be in community that way and serving together. And serving together is a great way to be in community. So that would be a plug, no matter where it is, whether you're down in children's ministry or youth, when you're serving with others, you just can build a really special relationship with those you serve with too. So. Like Joy. Oh, and
What's the process if for a new visitor, okay, they sign the book, then what happens?
so right now they get a text welcoming them to St. Andrew, and then midweek they get either an email, and it comes from what looks like Rev Mark welcoming them, has like his signature, everything in there, and then on Friday, Saturday, they get an invitation to come back on Sunday, and we say, hey, we hope to see you in worship at, 8, 9, or 10:30 as we continue our sermon series, and kind of updating that to whatever the sermon series is. And then month in, we let them know about some of our quarterly events that are happening. Hey, we're going to have the pancake supper. This is a great opportunity to just come and have a nice meal with us. Or, hey, our senior adults are doing this, and we'll send out kind of like that brochure to them. And then about a month to 6 weeks later, I will give them a call and just say, hey, do you have any questions about St. Andrew? Is there any way that can help you get more connected? And so we just relaunched this because we didn't have a good process. So March 1st was the goal and we beat the goal. So, and then Eric.
Oh, I was just gonna say, as a new person 3 years ago, I really appreciated the personal connection with Wade, and we need to clone that guy. The second thing was, because I don't live in Highlands Ranch, I really appreciated the membership class right after church, because I don't have to come back.
Mhm.
And so I went to 2 of those with Rev Jerry and learned more about what is this Wesley quadrilateral thing? What makes this church different from, the conservative Missouri Synod Lutheran, so I came from. So I really appreciate things that follow right after church, so that I don't have to come back.
Right.
Later.
It is nice that, I hope you guys will stick around for the immigration talk today. It sounds like an amazing speaker coming in too. So, and we have lunch, food, Methodism equals food, always, and beer. And beer. And then another plug for those that we talk about like streaming online. I am obsessed with the St. Andrew podcast. It is a great way to listen to just the sermon. Sometimes Justin helps put this together. He'll add in musical pieces from either the 9 o'clock service or 10:30. But I will binge the whole entire sermon series because I just can't wait for the next week because I want to keep hearing. And so if you look us up there or let your friends and family know, it's a wonderful way to just hear about or re-listen, because there's so many times where I'm like, I feel like I miss things that Rev Mark says, and I'm like, so.
What is the name of the podcast? Yeah.
You just look up at Go St. Andrew,
Oh, okay.
and it's on anywhere that you would listen to a podcast. So we're on all the different ways, but that's a great way, even in the car, if you're like, I can't sit down and watch, but I want to hear the sermon. And I need to go back and just re-listen to it. So, and for me, it works better than reading. And Lisa, right?
You got it. Thank you. Who would I talk to about donating for the kids auction?
Oh, for the youth auction?
Yeah.
I can get you in touch with Cindy Click
Okay.
or Corinne would be perfect, and then they will show you all the details. It's also on the website too. So if you have an item, and because I was kind of looking, because I'm trying to spring clean, I'm like, could they use this? Or is this just giving my junk?
So if I just go on the website, where am I going?
Oh, so if you go gostandrew.com/youth, that should land you right on the youth page. Otherwise, it's under next gen. So trying to sound cool.
Okay.
So, anybody have other?
Carlee, I have a question about politics.
Surprise.
We try, she said, my wife said, of course you do.
Yeah.
I'm a retired political reporter. We try here to be fair to both sides and not overly political in this controversial time. And I think Rev Mark does an excellent job of that. And, but we are a more progressive congregation as a whole. That's no secret. Do you ever hear from people who say they're conservative and they're not comfortable coming here? I'm not coming back. We've had that sometimes in this class. People are very sensitive to this. And how does hospitality address that?
So this is a hard one.
We're challenged.
But when it comes to it, Jesus asks us to welcome the stranger, and you never know who you're welcoming in your presence. And we all I came from a background where I would have been the polar opposite as I am today. And now I'm like, I don't even know how they think that way. But, I mean, I can't hardly talk to my sister. It's like, okay, we can't go down that political road because we're so opposite in how we believe. But I know her heart's in the right place for things and where she's coming from. And I think of the story of the Good Samaritan, in that like the Samaritan was not looked at in a positive way by the Jewish people. And yet the Samaritan's the one that stopped and helped and made sure that somebody was taken care of. And I think that's our job, is we are to help and love each other. And how can we ever let somebody know our view, like learn our view, if we meet them with hostility? But if we meet them with love and kindness and share in a compassionate way and truly listen to people and their views, we may find that there's more commonality there and we can learn from each other. So and that's my hope with hospitality, is that we can, no matter what, we don't know who we're who's in our presence, and, it's our opportunity just to love and do what Jesus says, is to love our neighbor. That was like the key thing, is that we are to care for those, even if they are different. And there's a story of, we had a funeral and somebody came in and they had a very political vehicle with lots of flags, for a certain candidate. And it really upset a lot of people. And my first response was, I hope you loved them. And I really hope that you just showed them the love that St. Andrew says. Because when you say we love all people, no matter where you're from, how you believe, how you got here, that's what we're preaching. So we need to practice it. And, they were here mourning somebody, it wasn't meant to be a political thing. That's why there is the separation of church and state. And so, and Jen.
Well said, Carlee.
One of the things that happened in that church long time ago is that we did a member survey about why they come to church. And a lot of people, we found, come to church to see friends that they otherwise would not get to see. And so when they are asked to not see their friends and go over and greet new people, which is not a real comfortable thing, and they were really looking forward to seeing their friend, they really almost kind of resent being asked to do that. We addressed the problem. I don't know whether we really solved it, but we addressed the problem by having hosts sign up on 5 different Sundays, for second, third, up to 5. And they, rather than hanging a sign around the visitor saying, I'm a visitor, they hung a sign around them and said, ask me about St. Andrews.
Yes.
And so anybody that was new would know who to talk to. And the other thing that it accomplished is that their friends would say, oh, well, I'm not gonna come, I'm not going to take all of your time or anything like that, because you're supposed to be greeting new people. And they would have a reason to do that. It would not require them every Sunday to skip saying howdy and loving on their friends.
Right. Yeah, and that's a good idea, because we do have the lanyards that we like the volunteers to wear, and then actually will say, ask me about this, and we're supposed to write what it is, and it could be even something social, like ask me about golfing, it's just a great, way to start a conversation. But I do like that idea. I may need to pick your brain for some more ideas, but also just remembering when we're congregating in the atrium to be looking and be aware of who's there. So Alice.
Several of the groups I'm in, we do things outside of church. We get together and do dinner and theater. We go out to lunch after sisters. There's multiple ways you can take your friends out. We invite new people to come with us, and that way they aren't new. They become our friends. And sisters, I try and sit next to new people.
That's wonderful.
I know we're usually up here in this corner, but back here, if you could sit next to somebody else, Becky and I have become really good friends because
I can attest.
we tried to get to know each other, and Esther and I, and it's like, how many people in this room have I gotten to know because I chose to meet you outside of this crisis?
Vicki?
I was just gonna say, Steve had an experience one time at a church that I was going to, and then he started coming to when we started dating, and it will never leave his mind. Because
I sat in an empty pew and a lady came up to me and said, I'm sorry, you can't sit there. That's where my family sits. And I said, sorry, I didn't see your name on it. Got up and waited.
Well, and then another example from Rev Barb was specifically for Church of the Resurrection. So from your former amazing church.
Yeah, this wasn't Church of the Resurrection.
No, this wasn't Church of the Resurrection, but Rev Barb, her sister, lives out in Kansas City, and I give way too much details. I'm so sorry. It's how my brain works. I'm like Sophia Pacello on Golden Girls. Picture it. So, anyways, Rev Barb knew when she went to Church of the Resurrection with her sister. She's like, they're gonna be all about hospitality. I'm gonna have my eyes open. We're expecting it. We don't think they're gonna fall short. And she said the thing that meant the most to her is when she walked in and they're walking down the aisle, a lady just started waving and saying, hey, come sit here, I have a seat for you.
Oh.
That's what she took home. And she's like, Carlee, that's what we need to be doing. And I'm like,
Wow.
yes. So it meant something to Barb when her sister doesn't even do church like that. So it was already a weird position for her because she's making her sister come with her to church. But then to have somebody that was like, come sit with me, and just looking for a face that looked kind of like, where do I go? What do I do? And that stuck with her. So instead of saying, no, that's my chair. I know, and try not to save seats at Easter, try not to do that at Christmas Eve. We try to drill it into people like, with saving seats, the families get displaced. It's, yeah. So is there any more questions? I don't want to hold you guys up from the luncheon if that's where you're wanting to go this afternoon. And I really do appreciate your time. And if you have more questions, I have business cards because I'm going to look like I'm a professional. When I can grab them, I think I've only handed out like one of these and they gave me this.
Carlee, it's absolutely gonna be recorded. Ron's got a concert this
I
afternoon.
think they're going to record it because they recorded yesterday's too. So I'm pretty sure Micah has it planned because I saw all of his gear in there. So you can rewatch it because the lawyer that's coming in is going to have a lot of good information of how we can be prepared and so forth. So, and then if anybody wants, I do have a few of these books if you're interested in it. It's kind of my go-to, The Art of Hospitality, written by a few of the staff over at Church of the Resurrection. It's a great book. So if anybody wants to borrow this or even keep it, we have plenty of them. And then if you are interested in being part of kind of this little campaign of, hey, I'm going to pledge that I'm going to start sitting up front. I'm going to look for people. You don't have to even do anything. You just do it. But yeah, I have a sign-up sheet somewhere. Oh, right there. Oh, that was a sign-up sheet. I have the sign-up sheet going around saying, hey, I'm here today. But I can tell you guys areas of how to just be plugged in. And we're going to offer here in the next week or so an opportunity. If I can't be on an usher team a full month at a time doing this because I'm busy with whatever it is, but I can do a one-time commitment. Easter is that great one-time commitment to serve as an usher or greeter, Good Friday services, all of that. So if you're like, I just want to be plugged in once every now and then, because that's what I can give of my time right now, I have a place for you. We're not going to turn you away. So, all right. Sorry, guys, if I went all over the board.
It was so fun to hear what you're doing and get to know you a little better. Thank you. Well, thank you, everybody. Hope to see you next week. We're going to have Professor Peter Van Arsdale talk about the Ark of the Covenant, tell that story. And he's been to the place in Egypt, I think it is, that it's or Turkey is it, Steve? Where it's supposed to be. So whichever country it is. We have our own Indiana Jones here. And who has researched this, it'll be a fun conversation. Thanks for joining us. Hope to see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
I see.
I have